We're on Nun Vav Amud Beis. Bottom line. Today's daf is in Zion. And the bottom line starts. We had the question if you could be mochel ksuba or not. Yeah, how does it go?
Perfect.
That's good. So is it possible to be mochel ksuba? We have two cases of being mochel. Either she waives it before she gets married. She says you don't have to. Or that he writes, I'm chayv to you 200. She writes back a receipt. But may I hold either way is no good. Sometimes it takes effect, sometimes it doesn't. But always it's considered bilas nus. We had a couple of contradictions that sometimes talks about what's the din of mechilas ksuba, so what is included in the mechila. Here, Pasnak or Meir, that is considered bilas nus. So I think that the Rashi Bayas is going to say that's not a contradiction, that even though the mechila takes effect, but still it's a bilas nus. So these two sugyas, I think a couple of days ago we had the problem. I said it goes according to Yehuda. All the Gemara would talk about mechilas ksuba, what's included. It should ksuba. That to find that's the question. And I said maybe because according to Yehuda that holds she could be mochel. But I think in the halacha doesn't go like that. And Rashi Bayas seems to say there's not a contradiction, even though it's a bilas nus. Rameir doesn't say that. He said you're not supposed to continue staying married. So after divorce, we'll tell you you're not supposed to stay with her. But mechila, you can talk about if the mechila works. So the Gemara starts here a story which now became a famous halacha. Achsei the Rami Bachama, Chavas Nesiva le Rav Avia. The sister Rami Bachama was married to Rav Avia, and there was ksuba got lost. This is the famous halacha of a lost ksuba. Ksuba, they call it ksuba the erchas, which is Aramaic for getting lost. And here's the word erchas ksubasa. The ksuba of the sister Rami Bachama got lost. According to Meir, it's a problem. Meir says that you can't be mochel the ksuba. Living without a ksuba is like bilas nus. But the Chachamim argue, here is Shmuel. Shmuel says that the Chachamim argue on Meir and say that it's possible to remain with a wife even 2 or 3 years. It means even more than that also. It seems, I can't say exactly. It doesn't just say it's not a problem. But the Chachamim say that you could live with a wife even 2 or 3 years, which probably means even if indefinitely. So that was a reason why Yosef says not a problem. So he lost the ksuba. Losing the ksuba is not even as bad as being mochel the ksuba, because losing the ksuba he still really is chayv. He doesn't have proof. And mochel the ksuba is even there is no ksuba. We do pass like a mayor. This is the Gemara's source to say that we do pass like a mayor. Shmuel says it wasn't said particularly in our Mishnah, but it's a general rule. Whenever a mayor makes a chumrah drabanan, a gzeira, the post can say maybe not by a knas, but by any kind of chumrah drabanan. Otherwise, you do pass like a mayor's takanas. So we do pass like a mayor. This is also a chumrah drabanan.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you do pass, since he says he passed like a mayor by his any chumrah. So here also, a mayor says that living with a wife without a like bilasness, it's like that. So how could you say that losing a ksuba is not a problem? So he told him, okay, you're right. The yachis look ksuba. So then write the ksuba, write a new ksuba. And that's what we do nowadays. If someone loses a ksuba the erchas, they rewrite the ksuba.
The nafkamin, if there's a fire in the house on Friday night, or it gets no, they shouldn't be together that Friday night.
That's what it sounds like. That if there's no ksuba, so then you're supposed to write it again. And
all the Holocaust people.
So they wrote a new ksuba.
No, till they got settled. They were also each other.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I don't really understand it, because even though we paskin like a mayor here, but still it doesn't say that just because he lost the ksuba. It means he's chayv the ksuba. She doesn't have proof of it. But you see that according to a mayor, just because he lost it, also they wouldn't be allowed to live together.
I'm thinking out loud. Maybe the chiyuv to write the ksuba, but there's no issa to live with that. Nafkim in the marshal, they say the same about the bricks tear. Some will keep bricks tear. Don't need now that. There's a chiyuv to make bricks tear. If for that reason you can't make bricks tear, it's still out of the way.
I don't know. Okay, new Gemara. The next Gemara seems to be a little complicated. I hope that it's not. We just spoke about, is it possible to be mochel ksuba? We just finished what Meir says not. Before that, there was a machlokas of Yehuda and Rav Yossi. Yesterday's Gemara. We had yesterday a brayso that had Rav Meir, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yossi, and Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda we had in the Mishnah already. And there were two ways of being mochel. One was just to say to waive it, that you don't owe it to me. And the other way was a little bit more effective. If he says I'm chayv to you 200, and then she writes back a receipt, I got 100. That's even a more effective way of stopping, wavering the ksuba. Not that she waived it, but that she said I received it already. Over there, Rav Meir is the most extreme, l'chumra, that he says that even if you write receipt that I got already, the ksuba also is not good. Bilas nus. Rav Yossi is the other extreme, that even mechila works. Rav Yossi held that Rashai, that you're allowed to be mochel the ksuba, and Rav Yehuda is the one who said you cannot be mochel the ksuba, but you could write the receipt. So those are the three shittas that we had. Rav Meir and Rav Yossi were extreme. Rav Yehuda was in the middle, and that's what it's saying. Pass like Rav Meir. That's what it seems, that even wrote his kabbalti, it's not good. Rav Yossi holds even to mochel is good enough. You could be mochel by saying I'm mochel the ksuba, and Rav said you can't be mochel, but you could write his kabbalti. That was what yesterday. It could be that there are other pshatim, but this is Rashi's pshat. And the Gemara is going to talk about in general. The Gemara is going to talk about the machlokes between Rav Yossi and Rav Yehuda. If you could be mochel the ksuba, what are they talking about? In which case are they talking about? So I have a small chart over here, if I can find it. Here it is. Is it shared on the screen?
No, it isn't. It isn't on the screen.
Okay, thank you. Let me try it again. We'll do this. Let's go on. Here it is. Now it should be on. Anybody? Is it on the screen? Anybody able to tell me if it's on the screen?
Is possibly not hearing you? You just heard before. Right.
I'm not sure what happened.
No, you're not hearing anybody.
I see it.
You see it. Okay. Till now we were not hearing. Okay, so it's not a great chart. It's an old chart that I took out of my Gemara, and it's just to get the general there. It's going to be coming up a Rav Dimi and a Ravin, as explained by Rav Avohu. It's not so clear. That should be Rav Avohu over here. And then there's going to be and Rav Dimi and Ravin are going to be explaining Rav Yochanan and Rish Lakish, and Rabbi Shulman, maybe, I'm sorry. And then if Papa's going to explain it in a different way, there's going to be a big, I don't know what the word is, but there'll be a lot of intricacies. But there are going to be three issues we're talking about. There's a Tchilas Chuppah, and there's a Sof Chuppah, and there's a Sof Biyah. The Sof Chuppah is also called Tchilas Biyah. Just translation. Chuppah seems to me when they come home. When they come home, the chuppah is called the house that they're going to live in. That's called the chuppah. Nowadays, also make a canopy and domain of the chassan, and she comes into his domain. Just to make the simplicity, it means she comes home to his house. That's called chuppah. Chilas chuppah means when she comes into the house, that's called chilas chuppah. They come into the house, they after the wedding, they go or whatever. Not after, by us, it's after the wedding. And
You say sof?
Sof.
Sof. Okay, I wasn't sure if I heard
Sof chuppah. Chilas chuppah, sof chuppah. Sof biyah. Beginning and end. So there's going to be terminology called beginning and the end. And then the Gemara is going to talk about the beginning and end of what? There's going to be the beginning of the chuppah. What's the beginning of the chuppah? When she comes into his home. Then it's also then having relations. That's called the biyah. And that's the chuppah. That's the end of just being in the home. They're actually having relations. And then when they actually have relations, that's called sof biyah. In other words, the Gemara has three stages we're going to talk about. One is when they just came in to live together in the house. That's called chilas chuppah. And the other extreme is after they had relations. That's called sof biyah. And then there's when they started having relations, but they didn't yet have. They're in the midst of having relations. They're starting, we have intimacy, but they didn't yet have relations. That's good. And the Gemara is very interesting that there's going to be an issue. I'm just giving a pre-overview, as much as I understood, that this issue that you could you be mochel the ksuba. That's today. This next 20 lines. The issue is could you be mochel ksuba? Mochel again doesn't mean that you write, I received it. If she writes, she received it, that's much stronger because saying that I received it, even though he's high 200, and she writes back, I received it. That's a strong way. Even Rabbi Yossi could do that. But we're talking about the simple way, that just waving it. Rabbi Yossi said you could wave ksuba. She could say I'm mochel. If Yehuda says you cannot wave, you cannot be mochel. Is there a stage that everybody might hold that you cannot be mochel? even Rabbi Yossi who says you could be mochel, is it possible to say, is there going to be a time that he also agrees you can't be mochel anymore? The simple words in Rashi seem to say the reason why you cannot be mochel, the reason why somebody might agree, everybody might agree you cannot be mochel, is because she already is zochenet. Rashi says those words, she's already zochenet ksuba. Now, she doesn't have it in her pocket. And the truth is, he didn't die and he didn't divorce her. So he's not giving her any money yet. But there's something called that she's already zochenet, and you can't be mochel something that you already own. This is the words I seem to be in Rashi. The Ritva says a little bit different. Just to get simple words in Rashi. For some reason, the ksuba is considered in her rishus. She's considered a muhsik in the ksuba. And therefore, when you own something, you can't say I'm mochel it. What does mochel mean? Someone owes you something, so you can say I waive my rights. But let's say you own a pen. You can't just say I'm mochel it. You don't get rid of something by just being mochel it. You can't just, because you own it already. So it seems that seems to be the subject. You have to be mafkirit, you have to make a kinyan, you can give it to somebody, but you can't just say I'm mochel it. What does mochel it mean? If someone owes you money, you could be mochel the money. But if you gave you the money, it's already yours, then you can't be mochel it. You have to give it away if you want to. So it seems that's what Rashi says, that what the Gemara is revolving around, that is there a certain stage, that's just pretty right in the beginning of the marriage, that it's considered that the ksuba is already her, and she can't be mochel it anymore. Before the Gemara is about the concept about Masna Moshe Kesuvos Torah, or if it's Rabbanan, the Raisa, if he makes it the Rabbanan obligated him to give ksuba, or the Raisa obligates him to give ksuba, could he right? That's a Masna Moshe Kesuvos Torah, but over Shabbat moment to Nakaim, it could be, you could make that. Rabbi Yossi seemed to say that you could make it tonight. Rabbi is concerned, as the Gemara says, where was that? I think the Gemara says Rabbi is concerned about not being mochel ksuba, like our Mishnah says, is because it's too easy to divorce. She doesn't want it to be easy. She wants it to be a solidified marriage. So if there's no ksuba, because she's mochel, she said that she received it already, all that, the mayor doesn't want marriage because it's too shaky. The fact that he could divorce her without having to spend money. So that's too easy to divorce. And that's the reason why our mayor doesn't allow all that. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, they're not concerned with that, but there is going to be an issue about a certain time that they're going to say you can't be mochel. What's the reason not to be mochel? She seems to say that everyone might agree that once you're zochen it, you can't get rid of it, but let's be mochel. You have to give it away. That seems to be what the sugi is going to talk about.
What's the beginning of the hoop and the end of the hoop?
Beginning of the chuppah means when they come in to live in the house, they live in the house together.
Coming into his house.
Coming into the house. That's called chilas chuppah. When they start having relations, that's called chilas bia, or you can call that sof chuppah. It doesn't mean the chuppah is out.
Chilas bia is when what?
Is the same thing as sof chuppah. The Gemara is going to say that sof chuppah is the same thing as.
Sof chuppah might be when he dies and she goes back to
No, they just got married. They must got married. It's a couple of hours after they came into the house, and now they start having relations. They start having intimacy.
So it just means bia.
What means bia?
Sof chuppah.
Sof chuppah, no. So bia means sof bia. Look at the next guy. There's sof there. Sof bia means they had bia already.
So sof chuppah.
Sof chuppah means they're starting to have bia. They're starting to have bia, but they didn't consummate yet. But they're starting intimacy. Call it like that. There's chilas chuppah means coming into the room. Sof chuppah means that sof chuppah is the same as chilas bia, which means they started intimacy. And sof bia means that they had relations, they consummated the marriage. So that's what the Gemara is going to talk about. Is there a difference between these different stages as far as the ability to be able to be mochel ksuba? So we'll go to the Gemara. So there are a lot of names over here. There's the Mishnah, in the Bryce we had Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda. These are the two players that we're talking between. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi said that you may be mochel ksuba. Rabbi Yehuda, you may not. But you could ask ksuba. But to be mochel ksuba, Rabbi Yehuda says you may not. Rabbi Yossi says you may. Rabbi Yehuda says you may not. And we're going to talk between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda. Kiyasa Rav Dimi. Just to get a little mapping out of the Gemara. You see here, Rav Dimi, and then later on it's going to be Ravin. Rav Dimi against Ravin. Rav Dimi is going to quote Rabbi Shua ben Levi Mishum bar Kapara and Rabbi Yochanan as arguing, and so is Ravin. Ravin is also going to be quoting Rabbi Shua ben Levi Mishum bar Kapara and Rabbi Yochanan. Both going to be quoting a machlokes between Rabbi Shua ben Levi in the name of bar Kapara against Rabbi Yochanan. Both of them are going to do that. A little different. They're going to be quoting them differently, and in both and Rabbi Avahu is going to be explaining what Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi. And there's a Rabbi Bo here. Well, I have to put one more Rabbi Bo over there. is Rabbi Avo in both. Rabbi Avo. Okay, we have, I guess, again, we have here Rav Dimi against Ravin. Both of them are quoting Rabbi Shulban Levi against the Rabbi Yochanan. They can be quoting Rabbi Shulban Levi and Rabbi Yochanan arguing differently. They're going to say, each one's going to say differently, but they're going to be two versions of Rabbi Shulban Levi and Mishum Bakapora against Rabbi Yochanan. And each one Rabbi Avo says something. And each one Rabbi Avo explains. I should just change this color not to be blue, change it to a different color. Make that Amrav Papa. There's going to be a Papa who's going to say different than Rabbi. Just to map it out, we didn't say anything yet. It's just very vague, the whole thing. But let's start now. Ki asa Rav Dimi, Amrav Shimon Mampazi, Amrav Shulban Levi, Mishum Bakapora. He said, Machlokes betchila, aval besof, the Divya called Eina Mochelas. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Ben Bezu Machlokes. This issue between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda, if he can be Mochel Ksuba, is only in the beginning. But at the end, everybody holds he cannot be Mochel. The words beginning and end are not defined yet. This is beginning and end. That's what we're going to work on. So we said that the end, Rashi seems to say, let's say the Rashi over here. Where's the Rashi? There's a Rashi that says that she was already Zoch and you can't be Mochel anymore. Shekfar Zachsa. Dibra kol Eina Mochela, Shekfar Zachsa. And you can say be Mochel or something that you're Zoch already. I'm not sure if she means that she owns it already. What does it mean she owns? They just started getting married. No one's divorcing, nobody's dying. And she showed doesn't have the money yet, but for some reason it's considered she was Zocha, and she can't just be mochel anymore. Now she has to give it away, as if to say, if she says Ashovish Eskabalti, then you can do that. You can give a receipt, I got it. But to say that I waive it, you can't waive it if you have it already. That's what Rashi seems to say. Maybe there's more to talk about, but the Gemara doesn't go into this first. The Gemara just talks about who said what. So Rabbi Shulban Levi, we'll call him Rabbi Shulban Levi says that the machlokis, that if you could be mochel the ksuba is only in the beginning, but the end, everybody holds you cannot. Even Rabbi Yossi is going to say you cannot be mochel the ksuba at the end. It's too late to mochel because she's already zofa. Rabbi Yochanan says machlokis. No, that even at the end, also Rabbi Yossi holds you could be mochel. So far, it's good. So it sounds like a machlokis. It sounds like a machlokis. Rabbi Shulban Levi said in the name of Bakapora at Basof, you cannot. Rabbi Yossi holds you can't be mochel. Rabbi Yochanan said good, but now Rabbi Avo says no, not arguing. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shulban Levi are not arguing. I know from, it was explained to me from Rabbi Yochanan himself that he's not arguing. Rabbi Yochanan said, I and Rabbi Shulban Levi are not arguing. Because we just terminology. We said the beginning and the end, but the beginning and end that he said and the beginning and end that I said is not the same thing. My betchila to come Rabbi Shulban Levi tchila schupa. My sof bia. Now I know ben bezu machlokes tchila schupa besof chupa dehi tchilas bia. When Rabbi Shulban Levi said that at the end everybody agrees that you cannot be mochel, when he says the end, he means sof bia. Sof bia. The tchila schupa means when they come into the room, then that's the machlokes case. But when Rabbi Shulban Levi said that at the end, everybody holds you can't be mochel, what do you mean to say? After relations, after they consummated the marriage, everybody agrees. So that's all Rabbi Shulban Levi said, that Rabbi Yossi holds after they had relations, then it's too late to be mochel, even according to Rabbi Yossi. I didn't say that. I said, bein bezu machlokes. It would sound like I'm going on even at the end. I didn't mean that. I meant chilas chuppah v'sof chuppah. When I said the end, I don't mean the end that he meant. I said at the end, you could be mochel still according to Rabbi Yossi. I meant to say the end of the chuppah, which means the beginning of relations. Which means the chuppah means coming into the house, just being in the room, and a sof means when that's over. What's over about it? Because now they already have. That's tchila. So he also would agree that there's machlokes by tchilas bia. He just meant to say that sof bia after relations. That's when Rabbi Yossi meant. That's when Rabbi Shulban Levi said that Rabbi Yossi holds you can't be mochel anymore. All this was the version of Rav Dimi. If that's good, we can go further. The next version. Kiasa Rabbi Amar, Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi, Rabbi Shulban Levi, Mishum Bakapora, Machlokes lebesof. Aval b'tchila divri akol mochelas. Mamish the opposite of what Rav Dimi said. Rav Dimi and Rav are the opposites. Rav Ravin said that the machlokes, we have Yehuda holds that you cannot be mochel is only at the end. But in the beginning, he also holds you could be mochel. Even Rabbi Yehuda holds you could be mochel. And Rabbi Yochanan seemingly argues, Rabbi Yochanan, that Rabbi Yehuda who says you cannot be mochel is even in the beginning. So again, the words beginning and end were very ambiguous. Nobody explained what the words mean. And it seems that there's a machlokes between Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yochanan. Because Rabbi Shimon Levi said that Rabbi Yehuda agrees you could be mochel in the beginning. And Rabbi Yochanan says no, that according to Rabbi Yehuda, you cannot be mochel in the beginning. On this, Rabbi Avo explained, Rabbi Avo, the Rabbi Yochanan, that no Rabbi Shimon Levi lo plagina. Adadi. This Rabbi Avo said that I heard from Rabbi Yochanan that he is not arguing on Rabbi Shimon Levi. Why? Because they different things said beginning and end. Ma'ila b'sof dam Rabbi Shimon Levi sof chuppah or ma'it chila chuppah. What did Rabbi Shimon Levi mean to say when he said in the beginning? Everybody else you can be mochel. The beginning means chila chuppah. When you just came into the room, chila chuppah. That's when Rabbi Yehuda says that you could be mochel. When I said Rabbi Yehuda argues even in the beginning, I think because when I said that Rabbi Yehuda argues even in the beginning, chilas bia, v'sof bia. I meant to say chilas bia. There, chilas bia. Once they start intimacy, then I meant to say Rabbi Yehuda holds that you cannot be. But I also agree that in the beginning, just chilas chuppah. I also agree that Rabbi Yehuda will say you could be mochel.
She's mochel on what?
On the ksuba. She's mochel the ksuba. The whole issue is being mochel the ksuba. The woman says, "I'm mochel the ksuba." You don't have to give me a ksuba. You don't have to give me a ksuba. Give 200. You don't have to give me 200. Just give me 100. That's good enough. That was the case we had in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda says you cannot do that. You only could write if she.
She's not trying to get out of the marriage or anything.
No, they're not trying to get married. She's not trying to be nice.
She's trying to be nice.
She says you don't have to give me a big ksuba. Small ksuba is also good enough.
She could say that as they walk into the house.
She said that, and now she said that
we're getting 3 cases of
right, 3 stages. Right, when it's too late, or when everybody knows you could do it. So far we had 2 versions, Rav Dimi and Robin. Maybe I'll try the chart again if it helped anything. If we go back on to see if the chart makes sense now. It was Rav Dimi and Robin, the way Rabbi Vo explained. Rav Dimi said that there's a machlokes, but at the end, his main point was to say at the end, there's this maybe it wasn't clear. The check means that you could be mochel, the next means you cannot be mochel, and the check and next means there's machlokes about it. That's the machlokes case. I'm sorry that I didn't explain that. I took it for granted. Those are old codes. That a check means you could be mochel, the next means you cannot be mochel, and a check together with the next means machlokes. Rabbi Yossi is the one who's going to be the maker. Rabbi Yossi is the one who holds you could be mochel, and Rabbi Yehuda holds you cannot be mochel. So Rav Dimi quoted the machlokes between after Rabbi Vo explains them. Rabbi Vo explains that Rav Dimi, that Rabbi Yochanan and Shlokish are not arguing. Shlokish and Rabbi Shua, I'm sorry, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua Levi are not arguing. So we're going according to his explanation. Rabbi, how does it go? Rabbi Yeshua Levi said that at the end, everybody holds you cannot be mochel. Even Rabbi Yehuda holds you, even Rabbi Yossi holds you cannot be mochel at the end. What does the end mean?
Protection for the woman.
What?
When she can't be mochel, there's a protection for the woman.
It's not a question of protection. It's a question that it's too late to be mochel. The way Rashi seems to say, once it belongs to you, you can't be mochel. You have to give it away. But yeah.
Well, that's what you were saying.
That's what I was trying to say.
So in this case, once he has
so bia, so then she owns the ksuba, and you can't just be mochel. And that's what Rav Yeshua Levi meant to say, that even if Yossi says you could be mochel is only in the beginning. But that's when there was a machlokes case. But not in the end. End means that once they had bia, so then Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold that you could be mochel. Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Yochanan didn't argue, he's just talking different terminology. He said both in the beginning and in the end is a machlokes. Rabbi Yossi holds you could be mochel, but he didn't mean to say even at the end. He meant the end of the chuppah, which means tchilas bia, both in the beginning of the chuppah and the end of the chuppah. Rabbi Yossi will say you could be mochel, but he's not arguing on what Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said that at the end of the bia that Rabbi Yossi holds you could be mochel. That was Rav Dimi's version. Rabin's version was if Rabbi Yehuda, who says usually you cannot be, he's the one who said you cannot be mochel, does he have a hold you could be mochel? And the point was to say that Rav Dimi's Rav Yeshua ben Levi said that sometimes Rabbi Yehuda is going to hold you could be mochel if it's the beginning. And what does the beginning mean? Beginning. Chilas chuppah. That's what Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said. We're going in this line of Rabbi now. He said that when is the machlokes? Only at the end. End of what? Sof chuppah. But chilas chuppah, beginning, the rest came into the room, even Rabbi Yehuda holds you could be mochel. And Rabbi Yochanan says, I didn't argue on that. I meant the same thing. I just used different terminology. I said, bein bezu, bein machlokes means both. In the beginning means chilas bia, and so bia. Rabbi Yehuda holds you cannot. But he also would agree that beginning, and the chilas chuppah also they would be able to be mochel according to Rabbi Yehuda.
Who's the rebbe on top, on the right, on the top right?
This one?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not clear.
Rabbi
Rabbi
Yehuda?
Avohu.
Huh?
Rabbi Avohu.
Rabbi Avo.
He's the one who's explaining both. Rav Dimi quotes him and Rav Oven quotes him. There was a machlokes between, seemingly machlokes of Yeshua ben Levi and Rav Yochanan, the way Rav Dimi quoted it, and Rav Avohu, and according to Rav Avohu, that they're not arguing. And Rav does the same thing. He has Rav Yochanan has Yeshua ben Levi, which Rav Avohu explaining them, but they come out different. The first version of Rav Dimi says that Rav Yochanan and Yeshua ben Levi are not arguing. Everybody agrees to that they're not arguing. But what did they say? According to Rav Dimi, everybody agrees that in this first stage, there's three stages. The first stage is chilas chuppah. Second stage is intimacy, sof chuppah. And the third stage is when they consummate it. So everybody would say that the machlokes between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda, if you could be mochel, it's only the first two stages. But once there was a bia, even Rabbi Yossi holds you cannot be mochel. That was Rav Dimi. And Ravin, but it's whole explanation of Rabbi Avohu, is that the Yochanan and the Yeshua ben Levi are not arguing. They would say that the machlokes, if you could be mochel, is by the later stages of sof chuppah and sof bia. But in tchilas bia mamish in the beginning, but us came into the room. So then, even Rabbi Yehuda would hold you could be mochel. Very intricate about who says what. But this subject came out. There's one more Gemara, a few more lines that a Papa says, if not for what all this was explained, I would have said differently. To see the Gemara inside now. Amar Papa. We got here till Amar Papa. A few more lines of Papa. Amar Papa. He loved Amar Rabbi Avohu. The Didim Ifrashli Mined Rabbi Yochanan. Then if not, for what Rabbi Avohu said that he heard from Rabbi Yochanan himself that they're not arguing, as we just finished explaining. Have Amena Rabbi Yochanan B'Shul Levi Pligi. I myself would have said he's not coming to argue. He's just come to say what I would have said if Rabbi Avohu said so. That he knows from Rabbi Yochanan, so there's nothing to discuss. But I would have said, if I wouldn't have heard this from Rabbi Avohu, that Rabbi Yochanan and Yeshua ben Levi are arguing. But I would have thought that Rav Dimi and Ravin are not arguing. My sof, the Kamer Ravin, sof chuppah, or my tchila, the Kamer Rav Dimi, tchilas bia. Let's see that on the chart. That he would say that there is no machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Levi, but there's no machlokes between Rav Dimi and Ravin. In Rabbi Yochanan, bein bezu machlokes means in all the cases there's a machlokes. Again, we're all analyzing Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda. If you could be mochel the ksuba, till when you could be mochel the ksuba. Rabbi Yochanan said in any case there's a machlokes. Bein bezu. Any case, the first stage, the second stage, the third stage. According to Rabbi Yossi, you could be mochel the ksuba, even at the suya, also you can mochel the ksuba, and Rabbi Yehuda holds you can mochel the ksuba even in the tchilas chuppah, all the way in the beginning. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, he's the one who said that he's arguing on Rabbi Yochanan and saying the machlokes is only in one case. And even though Rav Dimi and Ravin express themselves there, they all mean the same thing. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi will say that the machlokes is only in the middle case. The case of sof chuppah and tchilas bia, that's the machlokes case. One way it was expressed was the machlokes is only in the beginning, but in the end not. And the other way that it was expressed was the machlokes is only in the end, not in the beginning. But they're all just using different terminologies. Rav Dimi using different terminology. Everyone needs to say that the machlokes is only the middle case. That's what the Gemara says, how I would have explained if not for Yochanan saying a favor, that I'm not arguing with Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. If not for that, I would have said that they are arguing on each other, and Rav Dimi and Ravin are not arguing. The Gemara ends off, why is he telling us this? I would have said so. He says it's not true. He also agrees that it's not true. And that's the Gemara's kasha, Micah Mashmalah. Well, Micah Mashmalah, why is he coming to tell us? It means it's not true. So why is he telling us what he would have thought? Hakam Mashmalah, the pligi trade amaroya, timer than of shayu, below pligi trade amaroya, liba the gadamora. Here, there are two choices. If there are two people arguing in a quotation, it means the way it comes out, there we have one more time over here. The way the truth comes out, they're arguing about what Rav Dimi arguing about what Rabbi Yochanan B'Shua said. That's not so nice. It isn't so nice to have machlokas what somebody said because one of them is wrong. One of them is definitely. When you have machlokas what someone, you can't say that
they're
both
not saying
right.
that.
If you're arguing in the svara, then there's room for both of them. Both of them have a good side. No one's saying a mistake. That's why if Papa would have said, I would have rather say that the Yochanan and the Bishub and Levi are arguing. Here it's more in the svara. Arguing in svara. What would they have said? But not that they said anything, and I'm quoting them, and I got the misquote. But the way that it comes out that Dimi and Rabban are arguing what Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua and Levi said, they're arguing what somebody said. That's not so easy. It isn't so easy to have machlokas when one of them is definitely wrong. One of them is wrong. If you're arguing what the quotation was, one of them is wrong. If you're arguing what the svara is, both of them could be right. Okay, hope that was helpful, and that's the end of that sugya. Now it gets easier. New Mishnah. This we had some of these concepts already. They used to have Erison and then a Suin, first the betrothal, and then later on they would actually get married and move in. The woman stayed by her father's until he was calling her to his house together. The ring is the Erison, and then right away they do the chuppah, and that's the Nisuin. But in the old days, used to be a big break in between. That's the Narasa. And there's Erison with Nisuin.
The rabbis would ask her, when did you say you were mochel?
No, yes, that be a question. You know, we know when she was. There wasn't a question when she said it. The question is, does it take effect? Does it work?
Oh, because the man knows.
Yeah, there's no one's arguing
issue
when.
about
No,
it.
right. No issue when she said it. The question is, does it take effect or not? Are you allowed to do it? Does it work?
Okay.
So that's the point that Allah and the Pesach seems that Allah the post pass like a mayor, like the Moshe on the page, the post pass like a mayor, that even if you would have made a contract, and she says. Whereas Bernard also know the Bilas not Ksuba, and therefore we don't want works, but we'll tell them you can't stay married. If there's no Ksuba, you can't stay married. The Mishnah starts. So there's the Erison, Kedushin, that's the same thing, and later on there's the Nisuin when she moves in. Also the Basula Shneim was a Chode Haba Haba Lefanis that's not small. Basula. When she got Erison. There's a 12 months waiting period that she has the right to wait.
No, she needs to wait.
You give her you give to a
You give her
basula 12 months from the time that the husband requested of her to get ready for marriage. That means that had Erison. 12 months doesn't have to be. It could be that'll be a couple of years. But from the time that the husband says, I'm ready to get married and start getting ready, she has 12 months from then on. From the time that he demands or requests that she should take care of herself, which Rashi says means tachita and whatever she needs in order to get ready for herself, came up in the preparation, the pasuk that it says in the Gillah Esther, Shishachad Hashem b'Shem Amor, Shishachad Hashem b'Samim, that even the whole process took a year in those times could be. So she wants to make herself ready, so it's a quoting that. But whatever she needs to get ready for the wedding, she needs 12 months. So
the fact that the Baal asked.
right, that's when the clock starts. The clock starts from the time that the Baal requests. They did everything that we should get married. No. Will you marry me? But will you marry me in what sense? Means there's Erison and there's Suin. This is already. She's ready. She already has a ring. He gave her the ring. She's a Eshes. She gave her a ring. He said, I'm ready. Now we want to consummate the marriage. We want to get together in the same house. You're living by your father's house. It's very real. There's the first stage of marriage. He gives her a ring, and that's the Suda Seris, and they go to the woman's house, and he gives her a ring. And everyone says Mukudeshes.
And he didn't ask anything yet.
He doesn't have to.
Okay, I just asking.
Right.
I don't know what it means he asked.
When he requested, right now, 2 months later, he says we can start on the process. Igiyazman. She says Igiyazman. Okay, now I need 12 months.
Oh, it's not from the time that he gave it.
Right. You don't start the 12-month
From
clock.
the time that he says,
I'd like to
let's get going.
Right. Let's start the process. Whatever you need, get ready. Okay, get ready, it takes 12 days. So now it's
So it could be
Well, wouldn't they would know? Yes, it could be.
Yeah,
after what- I thought it was
yeah.
on it. It's a
Right,
year.
I thought also, here's the Mishnah says now, here's the Mishnah. So we,
Probably be a year and a week or so.
no, it could, no, it could
It
be,
could be that day.
2 years.
Or it could
It
be
could be
2
3 years.
I
It
mean,
could-
generally, probably about a year and a week after they give a ring.
No,
And then
he
that's-
has to wait from medical school and she has to finish seminary.
Yeah, it could be it's a couple of years. But that's the point of the Mishnah, that the clock starts from the time that he requests of her to get ready.
Okay.
So it's not right. Again, that's to say that Shnei Masach Chodesh, not true. Shnei Masach Chodesh from when? Not from Erison, from the time that the husband requested from her that she should get ready, get herself ready. The Farnesa assessment. Farnesa,
That's ma.
to take care
It
of
sounds like
herself.
something she's doing.
Yes, she should take care of herself. Get ready. Whatever
Okay,
you
but I
need to
was
get
thinking
ready.
he's asking because he realizes I'm learning a trade and I realize now in about 12 months, I'll be able to go into business for myself. I've been,
I'll
putting
be
shoes
ready. I'll
on
be
the
ready.
horses for a long time. And I think I'll be ready to put my shingle out in about a year.
Okay, so
That's why
what's
he's
behind
asking.
him when he wakes up? When does he wake up? But he has to know that whenever he's going to wake up and request,
That
she
needs
has
to put
12 months.
herself together.
she doesn't start getting ready till he requests.
Okay, but it seems funny that she has to finance herself.
Why? No,
What does
parnasa.
parnas mean?
Right. Parnas doesn't mean parnasa. It doesn't mean what we call parnasa. The word parnasa means to take care of something. To take care.
Did she wear a wedding dress yet or not?
She's going to now start sewing it.
Because the whole thing, when she father's house, she was already in her father's house.
She's in her father's house. She grew up
And
over
he
there.
gave her some kind of sheva pruta,
Right.
and
I read
it
through
gave- she
this.
gave her overalls.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
She wasn't.
Whatever
I
she
mean, she
needs.
wasn't in a wedding dress.
Right, I don't know what
She
the
can-
custom.
She can start sewing.
I'm not sure what the custom was in those days. Which way, wedding dress by the Harrison, by the Nisuin, I don't know. But saying 12 months from when? From the time that he requests.
Anytime she requests, okay.
Ukishem shenos leisha kachno. And if she's not ready, at that time, it comes 12 months and he says no, and she says no, I need another time. I'm not ready yet. So that's considered that she's not living up to the agreement. The agreement that might be called a moredas. That's the problem. She's not ready. Why is she not ready? You had 12 months. Ukishem shenos leisha kachno leisha fanasmo. He also has the same time. Once it comes to 12 months, he's getting ready for himself. He's also supposed to get ready by that time. And if it comes that time and he's not ready, so then he's late. And whatever, we'll see if that has any.
That's not in the Mishnah. You're just adding.
No, it says it. I just didn't highlight it.
Uh-huh. It sounds like he gets the same amount of time.
From the time that he requests. He's the one who requests. From the time that he requests, he also has a
So we don't see anything
deadline.
about somebody being not ready.
It's saying, what does it mean you have 12 months? And after 12 months, if you're not ready, now it's late.
Okay.
And now there's consequences. If the woman is late, consequences for her. If the man is late, consequences for him. The Mishnah is going to talk about the consequences that
Okay.
we'll see on the
Okay,
line.
I see.
And Agav also says, whatever we said about a basula gets 12 months, if she's in Alana a second time around, so then there's only a 30-day waiting period that she needs to get ready. She doesn't have so much to get ready as much as a basula, and therefore 30 days is enough. So if the husband says, let's get ready to get married, so then 30 days that she has to get herself ready, and he to get himself ready. And after that, they'll be late. Now that's the next case. So it came now 12 months or 30 days, and then he gives Mabalon is ready, but he's not ready. Yes, you remember a year ago you told me get ready, I'm ready, and he's not ready. He has to start supporting her. Usually the support only starts after the Nisuin, and she's ready for the Nisuin, but he's not ready. So he has to support her anyway. He has to give her money for food, even though they're not yet Nisuin. And Neris doesn't have to give her food. Their father's giving her food. Once there's Nisuin, he has to give her food. Should be Nisuin. There should be Nisuin. He should be marrying her, but he didn't. He's not ready. So he still has to pay her whatever she needs for food. And the big chiddush over here, ochlos betruma. She also could eat, if he's a Kohen, she could eat truma, even though she's not married. Usually we only allow a Nesua to eat truma. And here the Mishnah says that she could eat truma even though she's not yet in a Nesua. She's still in a, yes.
I'm sorry, nisu here means what?
taking her into,
Didn't marry her.
right, the word married, but the
Well, if
point
they
is
were
that
not
it's his
married,
fault. It's here, the point is that it's his fault. If it's her fault, then he doesn't have to support her. If they came to time and
It
because
must be
of him,
that's his fault. Because he has to feed her from his, so
Right.
that's how we know it's his fault.
I would think. And then she eats from him. That means he has the obligation to support her already. And there's a big chiddush that now he's going to talk about. Even still in her father's house.
Yeah, but we said that we don't do it. It's like a-
Right. And the Gemara's Mishnah is going to say the bottom line that we don't hold like this. This is going to, it's a Mishnah. This Mishnah, Ochlos B'Truma, is only once upon a time. So we're going down with the once upon a time till the bottom line. Rabbi Tarfon Omer, Nosson Kol Truma. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Mechul and Truma. During this time that she's getting Truma from the husband, so he's
Oh,
allowed to
there
give
was
her.
also Truma D'Rabbanan, so I thought maybe it means you can just give her the Truma D'Rabbanan.
Why do you say it's Truma Rabbanan?
Because it's.
I don't recall that it's Truma Rabbanan. I don't recall. I think it's Truma Daraisa.
Okay,
And the Gemara is going to talk about why she allowed to eat it too. Why is she allowed to eat truma? She's not yet in the sewer. The Gemara will say that with the rice, Arusa is also allowed to eat truma. She could have eaten truma with the rice from the time she got the ring. But in Abana, we don't let her. But now we do let her. Rav Tarfon says if he wants to, we can give her everything truma. All the mazonos that he's sending her is only truma. She says, I'd like to have some chulin because I'm not always tohar. But Rav Tarfon says he has the right to give her truma. He has to support her, but he can give her truma even though
And
she's
she'll
not.
sell it, I guess.
Maybe that's what the Gemara is going to say. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Mechza chulin and Mechza truma. Everything truma. He has to at least have chulin. But the food at least has to be chulin. The other half he can give truma if he wants to. But at least half has to be chulin, which is usable even when she's coming. She doesn't have to be careful about it. There's another lach also about a yavam.
so excuse me, in terms of this, and we're talking about the guy who didn't go ahead and marry her. So Rabbi Tarfon is more mako
Right, on him.
because it's cheaper.
Right.
Okay.
And if Kiva says he has to give at least half chulin. He can give truma. Of course, chulin, but he wants to give truma because it's cheaper. There's another yavam till the end of the page. A yavam ain't no machal b'truma. The yavam is the case that the husband died without children, and now she's waiting for the yavam, and he didn't marry her yet. She's a shemeres yavam. She's waiting to get the yavam. He's a kohen. The husband was a kohen. The brother's a kohen, of course. So does she eat truma because of the yavam? So it says here, yavam ain't no machal b'truma, and the Mishnah explains itself. Us is shisha chadashim b'fnei abal v'shisha chadashim b'fnei yavam. Let's say she was waiting, the husband died out of Erison. They never had Nisuin. And she falls to Yibum from Erison also. We had that in the Bamas. Even if she had 6 months waiting for the husband, and then he died, then she's waiting 6 months for the Yavam, she still can't eat Truma. Or, Afilu Kulam B'fnei Abal, there was a year, 12 months, minus a day. The last day, the husband died, and then she becomes a Shemeres Yavam. Also, she can't eat Truma because of the Yavam. She didn't have a full 12 months yet. That the first day the husband married her, one day after the first day he died, and now she has 12 months minus a day by the Yavam.
The Baal is who?
The original husband who died.
Who died. Mhm.
That would be one day, it would be the opposite order. Excuse me. Well, thank you. One day before, thank you. One day in front of the husband, and then he died, and now she had
I
12.
thought it was a year.
Which one?
I thought it was a year minus a day, but that's a different case.
Right. That's the case. But it means which case are you up to?
I thought the latest case was
Kulan b'fnei yavam, chasi yom echad b'fnei
no,
abal.
Kulan, I'm sorry. Vafilu Kulan
B'fnei
b'fnei
abal,
Baal.
chasi yom echad b'fnei yavam. The husband was married to her, Erison, and the last day, one day before the 12 months are up, he died. So
Which
she didn't.
12 months.
The husband gave her a ring,
And he's waiting.
and they
And
have
the
12
months he asked, and then
12
it was
months
the
after he
one day
requested.
before
One day
she's
before
gonna
the 12
come
months
to
is
his
up,
house,
right?
yeah.
And then she'd be able to get the zonos and truma
Yeah.
from the husband, but he died. And now she's waiting on the Yavam's list. She's the waiting line for the Yavam. She's a Shemeres Yavam now.
Okay.
So you say altogether I have 12 months, not good enough. Also, the other way would be that she had
She
11,
was
12
with
months minus a
the
day
Yavam for 12
by the Yavam,
months.
and only the first day was in front of the husband. Of course, the husband is first. That she had one day with the husband, he died, and then the Yavam, she's waiting for the Yavam, 12 months minus a day. All these cases, it is mashma. She would have had 12 months by the Yavam, she would eat truma. it's only because she didn't have a full 12 months. It's just saying that a Yavam ain't a Machal B'Truma in the case where she didn't have 12 months by
But
the
you can't
Yavam.
combine the Yavam with the Baal.
You can't combine it, right? That also
Right.
says. But if there will be a full 12 months by the,
Either one, by the Baal or by the Yavam.
then she would eat Truma. And the Mishnah is going to say, Shona, all this was the original Mishnah that we do. And that's what I'm forced to say that this is going on the Yavam also. That the case of the Yavam, that sometimes he could eat Truma from the Yavam, it's only Mishnah Mishana. Two things that it says. One is that once the 12 months are over, she could eat Truma. That's the Mishnah Mishana. And the fact that by the Yavam also she could eat Truma sometimes, that's also like kind of an Arison thing. That's all the Mishnah Mishana that allows her to eat Truma even though she's not yet in his house. But Bezdin Shalach Reinam, with the later Bezdin said differently than Mishnah Mishana, and they said, Ein Isha Chelas B'Truma that the woman cannot eat Truma until she's married, full marriage.
In the
What
house.
do I mean to say?
Until she goes into his house.
Into his house, and that's the chuppah. That's she comes in, and then therefore the Yavam doesn't give her till he marries her. And the Oris doesn't give her till, even though it's past the 12 months. He has to support her. But the
Excuse me,
Chulin,
once if she's married to a Kohen
married means the Suin.
and the 12th passed and she went into his house and he died.
She went into his house. She went into his house. So now
So
she's
she's eating Truma.
eating Truma.
And then it doesn't matter if it's a day or an hour.
Right.
Once she started eating, then with the Yavam, she can eat Truma.
I'm not
Correct?
sure. It could be not. It could be that after she's not waiting for the Yavam, now it's again it's like Geruzin, and she Truma from the Yavam
Until he does eat.
till he marries her. Till he marries, right? Yibum. Till he does Yibum. After Mishnah, the
So-
Mishnah Achron is going to be you can't eat when you're not married, Nesuin, either to the first husband or to the second husband, to the Yavam.
So was there a case of the Yavam feeding her Truma?
In the Mishnah Rishona, yes. The Mishnah Rishona would have allowed it if it was 12 months. If it was past the 12 months, just like the Orus, the Mishnah Rishona held that the Orus also was only
After
everything.
12 months and he still didn't do Yibum.
Right,
but
right.
At least he, that's the Mishnah.
Right. So the Mishnah Rishona held that once it's 12 months, you have to give Mizonos, and Truma also you could eat. But the Mishnah Rishona says no Truma until you're actually Nesuin. Why?
Because of the Takana.
Which takana?
Maybe the family. of the
Right, that's
girl
what
was
that's
not
what
going
that's
in,
right.
were
That's what the
worried.
Gemara seems to talk about. The Gemara is going to talk about why does a Rusa not eat truma with the rice that she made, because Mikdash Gospel. So you have to know why not, and then we'll see if it has ramifications after these 12 months. Gemara goes to the beginning. We're not immediately. How do we know this whole thing that you have 12 months? It could be it's an asmachta, it could be it's not the risa. How do you know that she has 12 months to get ready after he requests marriage?
Mhm.
Marriage, I mean, soon. But not immediately. I'm Rav Chisda, Damakra, Vayomer, Achi Ovima, Teishev Hanaroi, Tanu Yamim Osor. That's the person that it says by Rivka, that the slave of Avram came to get a wife, and they agreed that Yitzchak could have Rivka for a wife. And then the Eliezer, doesn't say Eliezer, but Eben Avram, they said, okay, let's go. He got up the next morning, he said, let's go. So, and then it says that her brother and mother said, let her remain with us, Yamim Asar.
Days and 10.
Days and 10. That's great. What does it mean? Days and 10. How many days?
We all read Rashi, so we know.
And where did Rashi get it from? From this Gemara.
Maybe he learned Gemara. I don't know.
Ma Yamim. What does the word Yamim mean? Let her stay with us. Yamim or 10? What does it mean? Does it mean days? It means a couple of days. Let her stay a couple of days or 10 days. Does a person talk like that? Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, 2 days or 10.
Two or 10
10
days.
2 days.
Right. You would have said 10 or 2. Yeah, 10. We'd like that 10 days. If not, at least 2 days. But you say 2 days or 10 days doesn't make sense. They asked for 2 days and they said no. So then give me 10 days. That doesn't make sense. So it can't be that Yamim means days. So what does it mean? Elama Yamim Shana must mean a year. That let her stay for us for a year. That's 12 months. And that at least 10 what? 10 months. A big
year
jump.
or 10
A
months.
big jump from a year to
A
10
year to
days.
10 months.
It means you open whatever you want to say over here. You can't say a year or 10 years. That'd also be the same kasha. So it has to be less than a year. So I think Rashi and Chumash says that it means 10 months, which sure makes sense. A year or 10 months.
Can you just do the punctuation again? I didn't put it.
My Yomim, Elaine with Yomi.
Mhm.
Mishtayin
It's 2
Shachi.
days.
Does a person talk like that? Does a person talk like that? And the Gemara explains that people talk like that. Amulei Treyomi. They asked for 2 days. They said 2 days. Amalahu. And he responds no. Then Amulei Asarayomi. Then they're going to ask for 10 days. They asked for 2 and it was rejected.
Okay,
Then they're going to say 10. Can't be. Elama Yomim Shana. The word Yomim here must mean a year. And where do you find that the word Yomim means a year? That you find. Tichsiv Yomim Teigu Laso. You find the pasuk where it talks about how long you could redeem something that you consecrated, and over there it says the word Yomim, and over there it means a year.
Where's that?
In the end of Vayikra.
What's it talking about? Oh, the.
I think it's talking about the Batei Arachoma, that you have a right to redeem a house that's in the walled city that was consecrated.
Right.
I think that says this pasuk Yomim Teigu so you have a year to redeem it.
Mhm.
Ve'em chodesh, who says that it means a year? Maybe it means a month. And over here, we're looking for the word, how long Rivka was suggested. At the end, they gave in. Nishala we asked her, and she said, I want to go. So Lamaishi, she went right away. But they had suggested, according to what was the norm. The norm was the girl stayed a year, at least 10 months. So that's what the Gemara is letting out, that the norm is to wait a year. The Gemara says maybe it means a month. They asked for a month or 10. 10 will mean 10 days. Where do you find that a month is called Yomim? You see that the word Yomim is referring to a month.
A month of days. What is that about?
I think it means when they ate
The slab, or no?
the slug that they died from.
Uh-huh.
Amri, so they say the answer is done in Yomim Stam, Yomim Stam, done in Yomim Stam, Yomim Shanam Ben Chodesh. That's not a regular Yomim. There it says Yomim Te'ekolo, so the word Yomim alone means a year. Here you don't find ever that the word Yomim alone means a month. You find what it says Chodesh Yomim, but you never find that the word Yomim means a month. So we'd rather say that the word Yomim means a year, and therefore, the end of the subject, we found that they asked for Rivka to remain Yomim, that means 12 months.
Shena Amar Bahen Chodesh.
Chodesh. Ain't done Yomim Stam, Yom Shem Ben Chodesh. We're not going to learn out the word Yomim from a place where it says Yomim together with the word Chodesh, Chodesh Yomim. End of sugya.
No, yeah, it's 10 months.
I'm not following.
So it says it's because of that sword.
No, what does Yomim mean? They asked for Yomim. Teishev and Aroi Tanu Yomim also. What were they asking for when they said Yomim? It seemed that the standard was Yomim. They asked for Yomim or 10. But what does Yomim mean? If we find that Yomim means a year, then what happens?
2 days.
No, it can't, because then they're not going to ask for 10. That's what the one said before. You can't say that was the one started off. You can't say 2, if not 10. That doesn't make sense. You don't ask for a small thing and then they didn't give it to you. Then you ask for a big thing. So it must mean that the Yomim is more than 10. It must be that Yomim is a year. Ten is going to be like once. So the husband's off to the husband's house. No sugya. I'm Rabbi Zera. Ketana, we learned in the Brisa. Ketana, bein he, bein ovia, yecholin la'akev. A ketana means still now we're talking about an Ira also. There's a ketana, Bulgarian. So here it talks about a ketana, and she's not even 12 years old yet. So then she could start. She could hold back. Means even though it's already 12 months. And we say 12 months is the limit, and then she's considered that she's rebelling. She's not going through with the marriage. That's only if she's already a nara. But if she's a ketana, then she has the right to say, I'm not ready yet. And the father also has the right to say, I'm not ready. Even if it's 12 months. No consequences. No consequences for a ketana to.
We went back to.
Going back to.
Mochel?
No,
What
we're in
is
the.
that kav?
What?
La kav.
La cave, to hold
La
back.
cave.
To hold back.
To hold back from what? To
From
get
getting married. The husband says, I'm ready. I'm at 12 months. It's on the clock. 12 months already. I asked a year ago to get married. It's 12 months. Still not ready? The consequences start.
We're at Katana, Ben He.
Ketana. Beini, Ubeinu, if a girl who's less than 12 years old,
And she's getting married and now she.
the husband gave her kedushin, or the father married her off at the age 9,
10 or not.
10. Whatever you
And
like.
now they're
And now,
ready.
now the
And
husband
she's still
says,
Katana.
herself ready, and ready a year, she's already 11. And she says, I'm not ready yet.
Whether it's her
Or the father, or she says, I'm ready, but the father says she's not ready.
She's allowed to.
She's allowed to hold off
To hold up.
until she's gonna be 12 years old.
She doesn't, it doesn't mean to.
It means to hold back. I'm not ready to get married. So
Okay.
come back when I'm 12, on my 12th birthday, invited to my 12th birthday party, and then we get married. But I'm not ready to get married yet. And the father also has a right to say she's not ready.
If his father died and got poisoned or something?
That's in the Medrash.
But he wasn't around.
That's in the Medrash. He was around the day before. He was around discussing it, and then when it says they got warning, it talks about the brother. You don't see here many say in the pasuk what happened. Bishloma he asking on the price. He is she right. Bishloma he must. We understand why she can stop. Not ready. She's a young girl. She's less than 12 years old. Ready for marriage. But the father, she's okay with getting married. So why? What's the father's business that he's mixing in that she's not ready? The husband wants to marry her. The girl says she's ready. So let's leave them alone. Why does he have a right to stop it? The answer is he says that now she doesn't know what it's all about. She's really not ready for marriage. She doesn't know what marriage is all about. And having relations, she's a little girl, and I know she's not ready for it. Tomorrow she's going to rebel. I mean, if she does marry her, she's not going to be happy, and she's going to end up getting divorced, and she's going to come back to my house. I don't want that. So even though she says she's ready, I know that she is not ready. So therefore, the father also has to say in the matter. If he says she's not ready, also he has a right to stop, and there's no consequences to the girl, to them, that she's not marrying yet until she's 12 years old.
And how do you know from these words, these last 4 words, that she's going to get divorced?
Because there's Benafka, she's going to go, what for me? For the marriage. And Benafka means she's going to get leave. That means he's going to divorce her.
Yeah.
And she's going to come and fall on me. She's going to fall back into me again. So it is relevant. It is relevant to me.
She'll go out and fall on me.
And therefore, he has a right also to stop to hold off for the marriage. New Gemara. Amrav Abba Bali. Ein poskin ala ktana la asiya keshi ketana. You don't make a date when she's a ktana to marry her off when she's a ktana. It means that we don't set a date for the wedding when she's a ktana.
La hasiya.
To make the Nasuah. The whole issue is she's already a Rusa. That's the father. He accepted the daughter and she's an Arusa, but she's still living at her father's house. And the question is, when are they going to move in to the husband and start the marriage? So it says, you don't set a date. You don't set a date for the Ketana to marry off when she's still a Ketana. As we said, that maybe she's not ready. And maybe she's not going to want.
We gave the example if she was 9.
Right.
And then at 10, or then at 9 and a half, he said,
I'm ready. So
we just said now, well, we don't do that.
Right. That's what it seems to be saying here also. That you don't set the date for the Ketana to marry when she's a Ketana.
It seemed like he was allowed to do that, and then she or the father can malkiv.
So maybe it's saying more now.
You're
Now
not
saying
allowed
don't even set a date. Maybe that's what it's saying. Don't even set a date. But the Gemara is saying now, Aval, poskin ala Ketana la siya kashi gedola. But you could set a date when she's a Ketana to marry her when she's going to be a gedola. That when you
When she's 12.
when she's 12, yeah. Then the marriage will be send out the invitations. The marriage is going to be on a certain day after.
9 years.
At the time when she's going to be a gedola. And that's what he said also. That was also part of the statement that Avo poskin ala Ketana to marry, even though she's a Ketana still. And that Gemara says Pshita. Why? What's the chiddush over there? She's already going to be older. She's a big girl at the time. You might think she'll get nervous. Since we say that a girl, when she's a Ketana, she's not ready for marriage. Sometimes she realizes it, sometimes she doesn't. But it might be that if you're going to make a set that date for the marriage and she's still young, she's going to get scared and she's going to become weak and sick. Kamash Palan, you're not choshish for that. Only to actually marry. But to set the date is not a pachad, and no reason why she should that.
Where is she getting weak from?
When she's 12 and a day.
That'll make her sick and weak.
Because she's not ready. I'm not ready for marriage. We tell her now you're not ready, but when you're going to get married, it's going to be fine and you're going to feel good. So she goes out and she goes and plays. she's nervous about the marriage, that they tell her that now don't get married, but then you'll be able to get married.
No,
Then
she
she's not
told me
nervous.
to play with dolls, it'll be fine, but she says, you're not living with your parents anymore. That could make her nervous.
Or have the whole thing of marriage, that she'll be with her husband. The issue was the marital relations. Nugamon.
Mashmalan, we're not worried about that. He can set a date for as long as she's 12 hours.
Right, right. Next Gemara. Amar Rav Huna, Bagri Yom Echad v'Niskacha Nosnin La Shloshim Yom Kalmana. Now we're talking about that she's a Bulgarian.
She had a whole year by night.
Right. And Taisus talks about now that the Bagri Yom Echad, you have to figure out how you have the 12 months. Then the whole Naris is only 6 months, because from the time she's 12, she becomes a Bulgarian in 6 months. So Taisus says the Gemara means that if the Kedushin happened after she was a Bulgaris, old girl, she's already more than 12 and a half. So then she doesn't get the 12 months anymore. Then she gets only 30 days. Holding the 12 months is only Nara. But if she was a Bulgaris when the Kedushin happened, so she only gets 30 days.
So the whole
From 12 to 12 and a half. Or Bulgaris is 12
Bulgaris
and
is after 12 and a half.
a half. After 12.
Or really, more accurate would be half a year after she has 2 hairs, after 12. If you assume
Half a year after she had.
has 2 hairs. But that would say 12, we'll say 12 and a half.
12 and a half.
So here, upon Chiddush that if the was after, I'm saying Tosh says this shot, the Bulgar Mechel Viniskacha means that if the Kedushin was after she was a Bulgaris, so then she only has 30 days. Mesfei, Bulgar Bei Ketvua, Kasha from a Brisa. The Brisa seems to say not like that. 1 second, get the right color over here.
The whole thing, so to arrive from here, that today we shouldn't have engagements because generally the girl you date, whoever's married today is usually older than 12 and a half.
Yeah, 12 and a
engagement
half,
should be-
12 and a half is nothing nowadays. The
Yeah.
12 and a half doesn't.
So the engagement, it's better the engagement be short as possible. Less more than a month is long.
In those days, they got everything ready. All her friends are married already, and she doesn't have a husband yet. So she gets everything ready. So when the husband comes, she'll be ready. By becoming a Bulgaris, she's like a Tvua, which the Gemara thinks Tvua means that he requested her to get married, which means l'chora that you start the clock of 12 months. It means even though he didn't say anything, usually he has to request. When do you start the clock? When he requests. And here it says that becoming a Bulgaris is a request even without saying anything. It's understood. If she's a Bulgaris, even if he doesn't say anything, the clock starts. My love Ketvua the Basula, doesn't that mean that the clock starts like a Basula would have started? And it means 12 months from then. 12 months from the Bulgaris. And you're saying that she only has 30 days. The Gemara says, no, it doesn't mean that. Lo, Ketvua Dalmana. It means the point is that you don't have to actually request. It's understood that the request is on. She's already an old girl. She's already 12 and a half. But it doesn't mean she has another 12. It means she only has another 30 days. The Chiddush is, you don't have to. What? Requested. Back to the Mishnah. Mishnah says that Mishnah Tavalina said from the time that he requested that she should marry. So here she has a dinner being requested, even though I didn't request, because it's understood. She's getting old. So it's understood he wants to marry as soon as possible. And here the question was, the Gemara thought it means that the clock starts for 12 months. And there's no, the clock starts for 30 days. Tashma, another kasha. It says here, Bulgaris Sheshos Hashnei Masa Chodesh, Rabeleza Omer Hol V'Chai B'Allah B'Mizonaseh Yofer. The Brisa seems to say that a Bulgaris, once she has 12 months, a Bulgaris plus 12 months, since the husband automatically is chayiv in for a Mizonos, like the Mishnah says, so too he has the right to be made for. The main point of the Brisa is to talk about that he also gets the right to nullify her vows. Even though usually only in a suah, here she's not in the suah yet, but once it's 12 months, after the Bulgaris. Yeah, it seems to say a case of a Bulgaris with 12 months. And now it says the husband has the right to be made for. But it says a Bulgaris plus 12 months. And you're saying that a Bulgaris doesn't get 12 months, but it only gets 30 days. The my answer is, Ema Bulgaris Visheshas. Put in above. If it's a Bulgaris or either case, either Bulgaris, or that she was a Naira who had 12 months. So then the point is to say that he also could nullify her vows. See that a Bulgaris is 12 months, but still holding on to who said this? That a Bulgaris only gets 30 days. That was Rav Huna. We tried to knock him down twice, it didn't work. Tashma, Amar says Abasula, Ben Shatava Baal, Vima Keves, Ben Shatava He, Ubal Makev, Nosnin La, Shneim Masachodesh, Mishas Tvia. Below, these words will come back to soon. These words seem not to make sense right now. Below Mishas Erisin. I'm sorry, I think these words don't make sense so far. 1 second, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. This nothing to back up. I'm sorry again. Okay, let's read it. It says here that Amaris is Absula, both if the husband requested of her and she's holding back, or
Maras. Oh, Maras, Erusin.
Amaris, right? Erison, right. Here it says also, I didn't realize, here it says also that she has a right to request also. It was Erison, both if the husband, the man requested of her and she's holding back, or she's requesting and he's holding back. She has 12 months. There's a 12-month rate from the time that there was a request. Here it says either one request, either he or she, that they want marriage to go. So that's the time of the request. That's what we said before in the Mishnah. You don't start the clock from Erison, you start the clock of 12 months from the time of Tviyah, when they requested. Then it says, Bagra Rehi Ketvua, these words, that a Bogeres is as if automatically it was requested even though it wasn't.
Is this part of the Tashma?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty beferish over here that it says that she was a Bogeres that was married. She has 12 months. That's ferish against Rav Huna. Rav Huna said that she has 30 days. Here it says that she also has 12 months. Here it says also in parentheses, we'll come back in a second, that doesn't make sense yet. We'll come back to that. But anyway, the Brisa says that even after Bogeres, she gets 12 months. And Rav Huna says she only has 30 days. Tifta the Rav Huna, Tifta. So that Rav Huna, who had said this point of this is not true anymore. That's not true. Not true. This is not true because it says 12 months. That even a Bogeres also gets 12 months. Not a Gemara. What did these words mean? We skipped a couple of words over there that didn't make sense. What do these words mean? I'm not Bogeres Shavu Allah Shnei Masach Odesh Bagros V'Niskacha Osnem Lo Shloshim Kalmana. Ready. 12 months after the Bagros, and then she got married, she's already 13 and a half. Then you only have 30 days. That means that if she got married, she got Kedushin after Bogeres, Funda is wrong. She doesn't have 12 months. She doesn't have only 30 days. She has 12 months. But if she didn't get Kedushin until after a year after Bogeres, now she's 13 and a half already, then she already took care of everything. That's what we said before, that when she becomes 12 and a half, even though she doesn't have a chassan, she starts everything ready. Every girl needs 12 months to get ready. So she gets ready without the chassan. Chassan will come. So else is already married. All the friends are getting married already. So from 12 and a half, when she becomes a Bogeres, she starts preparing herself for 12 months. When it comes 13 months, 13 and a half, then she should be ready. From then, if she gets only have 30 days. So that much is true.
But
Did she know about him already before the book, after Abba? She already had met him? They had already made a...
12, we're saying 12 months.
Yeah, she's just getting ready because
I'm going to get a chassan eventually. I'm not going to.
She's getting ready for
So she gets ready, and then when she gets a chassan, so then from the request she has 30 days.
she's ready. She doesn't need.
Right. Good.
Mhm.
Okay. End of today.
Until Yom Kippur.